Justice now. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice.
Justice now.
Well, hello, and welcome to another broadcast of Obstruction to Justice. I'm Ann Moles, and today we're just going to dive in. Now, Obstruction to Justice, what we talk about, we discuss general information about relevant topics of the day. We do highlight politics, economics, and of course, my favorite, small businesses. So, we're going to just today talk about what's coming up here. Now, there's going to be an election, April 6th. There's an election in the greater Kansas City area. Some of the cities will be having elections. So, we're going to take a look at those cities and actually what's going to be on the ballot on most of the ballots in the cities. Okay, I don't think we really get enough information about what's going on politically locally. We get all riled up and about what's going on nationally. Hey, Risa Singleton, thanks for joining. We get all riled up and excited about national elections, particularly the presidential elections, but there's many other elections that and political and community and local offices that go on, and really what I'm finding is that they're uncontested spots locally in some of these local elections where people just are right in the ballot and they're written in, or they no one is campaigning. It's just one person in that seat, and they just automatically just get the seat. So they automatically get put in opportunities and positions to where they can make decisions for the local communities. So that right there, what does that mean? Oh, wow. Well, if I didn't say, I'm Ann Moles. And again, thanks for joining. You can go ahead and chime in, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, whether you're on the podcasters. Now, what we do, we make sure that we describe as much as we can when it comes to information and what we're showing, so the podcaster can enjoy what's going on. We also, Twitch, we're out there on Twitch, and we just push this information everywhere. And of course, this is a Union Wrong Hill Films production, and we are sponsored by ASBNC Training and Consulting. So if you need some training information, or you need some training content development, or learning and education, you need to train a team on whatever, business training, give us a look-see at www.asbnc.com. Yeah, so what I'm finding is that there are seats locally that they have the different elections, no one is running. So what happens is that one person who decides, okay, well, I'm going to put my name in the hat and I'm going to see what happens. Well, they just get elected. They go through the formalities of the election, which is what's coming up April 6th. Now, I'm hoping everyone has their voter registration done. Okay, we've had elections, national elections, everyone listening under the sound of my voice. I'm really hoping that you have your voter registration card ready and you know where your polling station is. Hey, William King, how's it going? Hello to you. Yes, glad that you joined. And then so that you're ready to be a voice and be able to put your vote in because votes do matter. They do count. And I always say I vote in every election. I don't care what they're voting on. I'm there, right there with my voter ID or registration, whatever ID that they need. And I'm right there in line. I make sure that, I've gone to the polls where it was the wrong poll, but no one said anything. I didn't get any letters or anything. So, I just looked it up and I said, okay, well, where is it? Where are we needing to vote? And I make sure that I vote. There are people that have died for the right to vote. My ancestors, and I'm an African American woman. I have ancestors and people in this country. I live in the great country of the United States of America, and we have had a time. We've had a time making sure that our voice matters, that we have rights and liberties as human beings and as citizens in this great country of the United States of America. And it hasn't been easy, but our ancestors, who are those of us who are African American, hey, we have had to fight for the right to vote. And women didn't get a chance to have the right to vote either until the 1920s. So I make sure that as a descendant of great ancestral culture here in the wonderful United States of America, I make sure that I vote. And I'm not just focusing on the national vote opportunities, which of course that's what we're all excited. The big elections and big positions, they get a lot of play and airtime, and people are knowing, and congressmen, senators, and things like that. Of course, presidential candidates, governors, and all that. But there are local people in your cities, okay, and that are out there that do work and they get paid. Yes, there is our tax dollars pay for every seat. When we're talking about politics, there's no volunteering when it comes to politics. Folks get paid one way or another. They might have a cousin that has a business that, okay, well, I'm not saying kickbacks are out there. I'm not saying, but if you know that there's some good business, good work coming down the pike, and you have a friend that has a business, and you're in a position to where you know about these things because you're an alderman, a city council person, or whatnot, then hey, they know, and then they get a chance to share. Well, a lot of times people don't have the opportunities because we just don't know, right? So I'm going to share a little bit getting started here, and then we're going to get a chance to check out. This is the series of the first interview that we're going to have with this wonderful entrepreneur, Mr. James Davis. Now, you guys may already know him, and he's been around the greater Kansas City area for a long time. Well, we got that little snippet of an interview with him starting out, but then within the next few weeks, we'll be able to really talk with him about what we really want to talk about when it comes to business and the type of business that he's in that is very challenging. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just jump right in to what I'd like to share here. Big shout outs to everybody that has joined. Now I want to go out here and I want to take a look. Let's look here at the Board of Elections. Okay. Well, let's make that a little bigger there. Okay. Now here is the let's see what this one was. Looks like it's the same thing. Okay. I'll come back to that. Here is the a list of what's going on during the primary election. Notice of primary election Tuesday, April 6th. Now, this is a cool site. This is the Jackson County Election Board. Okay. So this everyone in the Jackson County, now this also handles Lafayette County, which is out here close on the east side of Jackson County, Lafayette County as well. And you can go out here to the jcebmo.gov/election information /on the ballot. Okay. And it'll take you to this page here, and you'll get a chance to see all the cities that are having elections coming up Tuesday, April the 6th. Now, you have Blue Springs, Buckner, Grain Valley. Oh, here's a familiar one, Grandview. Now, we've had have some great work going on out there in Grandview, where the city of Grandview is participating with another team, and they're talking about what can be done with the violence that's going on out there. Okay, stop the violence. Community organizations that are coming together and they hold meetings. Well, here, City of Grandview is having their elections too. Greenwood, City of Lake Top Lottawada, City of Lake Topawingo. That's out here in Blue Springs area. City of Lee Summit, City of Lone Jack, of course, City of Oak Grove, City of Raytown. So you Raytowners, just know that there's going to be an election out there that you'll need to make sure that you vote April 6th, Tuesday, April 6th. That's coming up because tomorrow is April 1st, right? City of Sugar Creek, okay? Town of Riverbend, town of Sibley, town of Unity Village. Now here's what's going to be interesting. There's a junior college of Metro KCRV 5 and 6 that's going to be voting as well. And what that is, that's talking about does the residents, do we want those that are voting, we're looking at Grain Valley and Oak Grove. Right now, Grain Valley and Oak Grove don't have access to the metropolitan colleges, so the junior colleges. So you have Blue Springs, and that's the last town headed out east that has access to the colleges, the metropolitan community colleges. Okay, so anyone headed east outside of Blue Springs has to pay out-of-state tuition. Wow, because they're not part of the community that gets a chance to have discounted or the junior college rates, right? In-state rates and fees. Independent school district is voting. The school districts are voting. The Central Jackson Fire Protection District. So go out here and see if you're a part of any of these towns here. Go out here to see. But what I'm getting ready to do, I'm going to show you something that I think is super interesting, because we get a chance, or we talk about, hey, Clara Williams James, hello and good evening to you as well. Thank you so much for joining. Well, what I'm seeing here, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to show us what it is that that they're voting on. Okay, so I have Oak Grove pulled up. So let me go out here and grab this. And when you go out here to the website, then you get a chance to see there's of course, what's on the ballot. And here we get a chance to take a look. Let's see if it's this one here. Okay, no, that's not the one I want. All right, let me pull this one up. What I'm trying to pull up here is the one that talks about what's on the ballot. So I need to do eeny, meeny, miny, moe here and see if I can oh, there it is right there. Okay. Okay, so now this notice of general municipal election, okay, there's one for each city that's on that ballot. Okay. So there's a notice out here for each city that's on the ballot. And what we'll get a chance to take a look and see here is what's on the ballot. Okay, so if you want to know what's on the ballot for any upcoming elections, then go to the site that we just shared and pull up, just click on the link for that city, and it'll pull up this Word document. All right. And what they're voting on, what we're voting on it, of course, it gives the times when the polls are open and what area, but they're voting for aldermen. Aldermans are really coming up in most of all these elections that I pulled up and looked at a lot of the cities that are on that'll be voting. So what's on the ballot, or they'll be voting for the alderman. And also the question of whether to increase, shall the city of Oak Grove, Missouri impose a fuel tax of 1 cent per gallon based on the gallons of motor vehicle fuel sold? Okay, so I'll show this here, but here is what they're they're looking to do. And also, okay, so that's mainly what I want to show. I want to show the alderman. Now, 2 seconds here. The alderman, notice there is only one person there. Alderman for Ward 1, alderman for Ward 2, alderman for Ward 3. There's only one person there. So that means whoever is in that slot, they're just going to be put in. There's no vote. So you would have several people that you could get a chance to vote for. They would be listed here. Well, for the city of Oak Grove, there's no one listed here. Okay. And I'm going here to prove a point. All right. For some of the other cities, like Grandview, the aldermen are there. And there's several aldermen for the ward where they're running to be elected. Okay. And that's good, right? There are people that are interested in wanting to be aldermen. So that, oh, well, what do aldermen do? That's a good question. What do aldermen do? And we can take a look here. I pulled up a little information to kind of share about what aldermen do. And let's see here. Let's see if this is the one that, yeah. What does an alderman do? Well, what aldermen do is that they work with the city, okay, and they're under the mayor. So the aldermen, they are part of the city council person. So in the United States, city and county governments, they prefer the term councilman, okay, or council member to alderman. All right. So aldermen, they are they work with in support of the mayor. So they're under the mayor. And notice that there were different districts. Okay. So the district that has the different aldermen, if you have an issue in the area where you live, cities are divided up into districts. Okay. Notice that Oak Grove had 3 districts. So if I had an issue in my district, then I could contact the alderman and say, okay, well, the roads here, there's a problem, or there's a big fence, or someone's not taking care of the area, a piece of property, or something of that nature. And the alderman handles it. Aldermen know what's going on, and they work with the mayor, and they're part of the city council, and they handle it, right? So if you don't know who your alderman is, then maybe we should know. You should find out what district you live in within the city that you live, and then find out who the alderman is for your area. And when you have an issue, then you can call them. Okay. So some of the governments prefer the city council or city councilman or council member. That's another term. Well, the city of Oak Grove and other cities, and even Grandview, they use the term alderman. Now, what I do want to share too is that aldermen, they just don't work. They don't show up and take the time out of their pockets and say, "Hey, we're going to just be an alderman and show up to all these meetings or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's a key thing to do. You'd find out information and you'd be able to help the people in your community. But aldermen get paid. Okay, they get paid. And from what I see, the average salary could be anywhere from 20,000 to 37,000 to on up, even to 96,000 in some areas, right? Some districts, some areas. So $36,000 a year and it's part time. And that sounds pretty good to me, right? So, but not so much just about the pay, but the fact that there is a responsibility, a community and civic responsibility to the position where people can participate and have a voice. And when you have people that are in your community that have a voice and they can help speak for the community, I mean, really do, not just go and get a paycheck, right? They have a community interest. They have a community interest because their relatives would be part of it. Now, here, if you're interested, and I do want to share because I think that it's super important to even know what the qualifications for an alderman would be. Okay. So, what I'm saying, let's see, what I'm saying, qualifications for an alderman would be that you must be a registered voter, okay, at least 25 years of age, okay, must have been a United States citizen for at least 5 years before the respective elections. Must be a resident of the city for 3 years. So if you live in Grandview, you should have been a resident of Grandview for at least 3 years. Resident of the ward from which elected for 1 year. So the ward or district, if you have to be a resident of that ward for at least 1 year, which makes sense, okay? Because it's like, okay, I live in the area, I've been here, I kind of know what's going on. I have to travel, I know where the grocery stores are and all the potholes and issues. So that definitely makes sense. So to run it for an alderman, if you're wanting to be an alderman or run for an alderman, find out and participate. Do that. And I'm just saying that because we're so concerned with the national elections that we forget about what's going on locally. And is the representation for the demographics, is it really fair and locally? Because yeah, what about the demographics and representation and the issues and causes? Well, if you have someone that is there that would speak in your best interest because of being associated and knowing what the issues are, then we have a better chance to have someone in our communities that will speak up for the communities. That's what all this exercise is about. Now, another thing that I wanted to share was one of the other things that's on the ballot for voting is, of course, do the Grain Valley, the Oak Grove people, do they want to have the opportunity to have the metropolitan community colleges come out in that area? And that's super, super cool. I think it's great. I think it's a good thing to do. But there's also a responsibility in that too. Hmm? There's also a responsibility because what we're looking at is, all right, well, you have it, you have the opportunity, but what about the who pays for it? Let's just get real. Who pays for it? Yeah. And that's kind of a big question that I wanted to know. So, of course, it makes sense. Metropolitan community colleges, how do they get paid? So, if we're wanting to have a community college come out as far as Grain Valley and Oak Grove, what can we expect as far as who pays for that? So, Metropolitan Community College here, colleges in Missouri, or community colleges in Missouri are supported by local property taxes. hmm State appropriations, tuition, and other. Okay, so we know that there's been a big issue with the personal property tax, the estate, real estate, the property tax, local property tax. They just skyrocketed in the greater Kansas City, Missouri area, and no one can explain why. Okay. So, right now, just as an FYI, here in Jackson County, yeah, as far as out here, closer to in the Oak Grove area, well, they haven't gone up significantly as devastatingly as some in the closer into the greater Kansas City area, closer to Kansas City, Missouri, right? So I don't know if it's because the we don't have the community colleges out here. It goes as far out as Blue Springs, and then that's it. Well, just know that there's a personal or actually local property tax responsibility that will be required once and if the people here in the Grain Valley, Oak Grove area say yes, we want a community college as far out as for our kids, you know. So anyway, that's just something to think about. Now, I do want to, and I'm just going to go back here. Here, here we go. Vote no. Say no to the highest gas taxes in Missouri. Vote no on April 6th. Oppose Oak Grove's local gas tax. And I got that in the mail. Hey, Lance Robertson, glad that you joined. I got that in the mail. And I'm like, oh, and I'm looking. I'm like, who sent it? Who sent it? Doesn't have any information about who sent it. Okay. So it's kind of an anonymous thing. But here's some reasons why they're saying to vote no on the local sales tax, the say no to the highest gas taxes in Missouri. So for the increase in the local gas tax, it says the city of Oak Grove says that this gas tax will get the people outside of Oak Grove to pay for better roads. Well, if you live in Oak Grove, and more than likely you're going to buy your gas in Oak Grove. So how are the people outside of Oak Grove going to pay for your gas, your to have better roads? Okay. Well, and this is the argument that they make. They say here the reality people will simply bypass Oak Grove's more expensive gas and fuel elsewhere. Don't you always look for the cheapest gas? Okay, so that's their argument. And number 2.2, gas stations and truck stops will lose business, and not just gas sales, but also sales on food and other items they sell. That means the city of Oak Grove's tax revenue will decline. The city will ultimately collect less gas tax overall and collect less city sales tax. Okay. And the third item they have here, loss of sales could also cause businesses to cut jobs or even close altogether. So they just went all the way there. Now, the sales tax that I saw was, I think it was just one point zero point zero one. That's what I saw. Um, they're saying that it's the highest gas taxes in Missouri. So, but the thing about it is that with the interest is this: Oak Grove is the last truck stop headed east. It's the last big truck stop headed east to St. Louis. So there's two, maybe yeah, there's two, three, well, three if you count the quick trip out here that have a facility where you get your gas. So truckers come out and get their gas. And nice facilities. And of course, who wants to pay higher taxes? So the research comes with the responsibility as a citizen. I'm going to do a little bit more research Okay, to say, okay, well, is this true? Okay, I'm not just going to go on a piece of paper, and I'm not going to not vote. I'm going to vote on something because no vote is a vote, right? All right, lower tuition, raise pay. Oh, this is another flyer. This is to say yes to attach your district to the Metro KC Junior College District. Okay, so they're saying, we want to come out, guys. Well, you do. All right, well, I know I'm going to be paying more tax because you get paid junior college based on the tax. Now, I'm just going to say, I know I work with community colleges, I train and teach, I've been around. And shout out to Johnson County Community College. I hate to do it, but here, those guys have the lowest tuition. Yes, they do. They have the lowest tuition. So even Metropolitan Community College, if I look around and I compare the two, I'm going to be cheaper just going over there. Even if I try to pay in-state fees at one of the metropolitan Missouri community colleges. I don't know how that happened, but they just beat everybody hands down. And I just say get the best education you can. Now, I do continuing education out there. I teach a lot of technical stuff or whatever and video stuff. But I think the main thing is to get the education in continuing education. If you're looking to improve yourself and as far as your skills, of course, at being a better person, the best person you can be, best way to do that is to love Jesus. I'm just going to tell it. Come on, get saved and stay saved. This Sister Ann. I am who I am. I don't care which broadcast I'm on. But just know that they do have a lower tuition in it. Just shop around for it. Do that and you'll come out a lot better. Well, those are the two issues that I saw, the two things that are on the ballot that were of interest to me. Actually, the three, because I'm looking at that alderman thing. Guys, participate. There's some great minds. There's some heavyweights out there. I just can't see anybody being on a ballot anywhere in any of these cities. They're just on the ballot. They just get put on just because they put their name on. I can't see that, especially with what's going on. We want to have a voice for all people. And if we get an opportunity, then we should participate. I know Reza Singleton, laugh out loud. I'm going to do it. Okay, here's the treat that I do want to share. Now, there is, we're going to go ahead and go right into this broadcast with pre-recorded broadcast of the interview that we had with Mr. James Davis. So let's go out here. I'm going to see if I can get this set up, and we're going to go out here and check it out.
I see that you started. Okay.
Okay. Oh, wow. Mr. James Davis, what a privilege it is to talk with you today. Now, you are an entrepreneur. I'm going to say you've been in the business of doing business for a very long time.
Yeah.
I and and really just the little bit that we've had a chance to just I've just had a chance to just share or just listen to you. This journey has been a journey that where you have a niche, and we're gonna get into that. But can you just share a little bit? Take us back. Tell us about how you got started and your interest in business.
Well, okay. It actually started. I went into the United States Army at the age of 16.
Oh.
And that was in 1974. I got out.
Hold on. How, did they sign? They had to sign for you to
But
go,
back
huh?
days that your parents could sign for you. So I wanted to go into the Army. It wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. It just that my grades were great. I was almost an honor student, you want to say. Back in them days, we had E's and S's. And I was
Mm.
out of E's. So, but I decided to go in. I wanted to go into the Army. I was in ROTC. So I was like an Army kind of guy. And I was on my way to Vietnam. and I did
Mm.
basic training in AIT in Fort Polk, Louisiana. And then, of course, after I got an AIT, the war was over with. The Vietnam War was over with. So later on, a year or so later, I got out of the service. I was 19 now. I'm about 19 years of age, going on 19 actually. Uh, and, with probably nothing to do. So I decided I want to go try to maybe be an attorney. So I went in and tried to apply for my GED and try to take the test. And, I was successful in taking the first test. So, but then I just decided to say, well, I started painting houses. And then I was painting houses I had to add in the paper saying paint most houses for $299. And I was, yeah, most houses. I was like, and I had a lot of houses to paint.
Uh-huh.
The paint was free because the city was allowing us to have free paint. So I told the customer, hey, you get free paint. I'm gonna paint your house for $299. You got a heck of a deal. So I was getting a lot of customers that way. And
Okay, so there we go. Right away, you weren't the kind of guy. I'm just going to kind of do some things here. Just mull this over. At 16, you had some initiative. You're talking about now that was Vietnam War time. Now, I
yes,
remember I was around during the Vietnam War as well. Some of our listeners may not have been, but you were a young person that you were ready to go do something, right?
that-
Okay, so then by the time you got out of the army or the end of the Vietnam War, you
mm,
were 19, still a teenager. Now that's a big shout out to teenagers. Now we have some things going on with some teenagers that are being authors. There's some awards going around for those that were writing books and things of that nature. So here I'm hearing it's you're never too young,
right,
to get
right.
started with thinking about what it is you want to do with your life. And then here comes the part, painting houses. So finding something that you can do well or want to do, or a hustle that will pay. And here you go, painting a house. And now that 200 some dollars might not sound so much today, but back in the day,
Hey, that was a lot.
okay, a lot. And some, and then so there was some sales there too, right? So
Yeah,
you had to talk people in to, hey, get the paint and I'll paint it.
absolutely,
Wow, there's business right there. Huh? That's making money. That's entrepreneurship right there. That's getting some customers going there. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It was just a stepping stone to get to
Mhm.
the next thing I wanted to do. And what happened was I came across this little store on 40th and Prospect, a little empty store. I want to say it was empty because the guy who did own it only had like maybe 25 or 30 candy bars, about 5 packs of bologna in the store, and maybe some salami and a
Mhm.
few loaves of bread on the shelf. So, but he was selling the store,
Mhm.
but he was also renting it as well. So
Mhm.
I happened to see the store when I was painting one of the houses I was painting down the street. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get in the store business." So the next day, I gave the man $1,000 for what he had, including the coolers and the little meat, and also the rats that he had in the store. Because there was some rats in the store there.
Oh my goodness.
About that. So, so so I pay him the money for the store and got a bill of sales. And the next day, I start cleaning that store up because it needed to be cleaned. So I cleaned the store up, put out some stuff to kill the rats that was downstairs, and got that situated. And then start, just kind of grew from there.
Okay. Right there. That was super impressive. So you made the money painting the houses. And then from there, took the money that you saved and invested in what it is that you wanted to do, which is uh, being a store owner opening up a storefront, right?
Absolutely.
Now, here, guys, sales is what's up. So, some people they, when it comes to everyone, people want to get creative when it comes to business and making money, and that's cool. But this was simple.
Yeah.
Simple. A simple business and doing something simply so that you don't have to go out there and knock on doors. Boom, 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 boom. Can I have a job?
Right.
Oh, and we're going to be talking about some of that next. Anyway, go ahead, sir. Please continue.
Then I started, of course, I opened the store up, and I worked hard about getting the store clean first,
Yes.
and getting the smell out, and
Mm.
basically getting it cleaned up. Uh, and and I went down to cash and carry. At that time, it was called cash and carry, and I purchased a lot of candy. And then at Walmart, I used to go. Was called, at that time it was called Hypermart. I would go there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and purchase like maybe 3 boxes of cornmeal, 2 packs of flour, 3 packs of sugar, and I'll buy my stuff at there because I couldn't afford to buy cases from cash and carry. I only bought
Mm-hmm.
candy. And I couldn't afford to buy merchandise like food merchandise. So I buy onesies and twosies from Hypermart, take them to the store late at night, and nobody wouldn't see me, and put the stuff on the shelf. And
Mm-hmm.
when I started this small business, and then people start coming in a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
Okay. Now, here's another thing that I'm impressed with. You worked in the community where you were working and you were familiar with. And I'm going to kind of lay on that for a minute. The community wasn't being serviced, right? So back in the day, there were stores around, but mostly they were like liquor stores.
Well,
You
there was a store half a block down the street from me called
Mhm.
Tony,
Mhm.
and there was Joe Looney on 39th and Prospect.
Okay.
The course that, like I said, Tony and Nella was half a block from me, and B's Liquor was a little further south than me as well. So I
Mhm.
had competition around me. I,
Competition, but the kids or the mom to say, "Hey,
Mhm.
can you walk around the corner and grab something?" Or the kids want a quick snack or some candy or something. They don't have to go way down to a liquor store in that type of an environment to go up and just to get something that where they can enjoy themselves, right? Or something that they needed, a necessity, some bread. Back in that was it. If you could walk to the store, that was kind of the highlight
Right. I like
of life
just a
when we were kids, huh?
yeah, and get some get some candy.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's why I was trying to push mostly the candy, but I was gradually growing the grocery part
Mhm.
to the business as well. And I just kept on working at it. I worked at it and worked at it. And then I was making $15 a day. And that was $15 every day. And on
There
six,
you go.
I know, and on Sundays I made $125 on Sundays because I was the only store. Tony Nella was not open, so I was open. So
Oh yeah, the blue laws back in the day.
yep, he wasn't open, so I was on $125 a day on Sundays. So I was doing great with that,
Mhm.
and kept on building the store up and building it up and building it up and letting customers know I'm here. Come and support me. I would chase them halfway down the street before they get to Tony and say, "Hey, come on back here. I got the same bologna. I charge you the same price. I charge you the same price for the bread."
And it's going to be a safer environment,
It's
right?
environment as well, you know. And I started having 3 loaves of bread for $1. I started having a can of pop for 25 cents. I started putting sales on, putting my little windows I had, put sales 25 cents pop, 3 loaves of bread for $1. And then I came up with a good itch on some money orders. I started charging 15 cents per money order back in the day. But that money order gave me working capital. So when people bought a money order on a
Mhm.
on a Monday, I didn't have to pay the money order company until Friday. So that rotated over and over again until I had working capital. Then I started buying more stock and more inventory. And I kind of built it up from that point on. And then
Mhm.
one year, like maybe 9 years down the road, out of that little bitty store on 40th and Prospect, I made $1 million gross
My goodness.
later. And then I got into the
That was in 10 years.
within 10 years, yeah, with
Within 10 years, you made $1 million
gross
gross
one year.
out of that little store.
In one year, I made $1 million gross out of one.
Now, not and here we go. So this was in the African American community for those listeners. I mean, because we have listeners all over the country and really the world. We have some listeners in the Philippines.
Right.
So for the listeners around the world, was a store that's located in the African American
Right.
community. It serviced African Americans with what they needed and also fun treats and things. But it got started by an African American that painted houses, saved the money, and went out boldly to say, "Hey, I'm going to do something with my life besides knock on a door and say, will you give me a job?" Get angry if you don't get the job, or go rob someone, or go and take and sell drugs out of the store,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So this was an honest living, and in 10 years there was $1 million gross receipts within 10 years of owning this. Now this is little by little. So for all the ballers that think they balling, I don't think so. You're not doing nothing until you do this, with your own creativity, imagination,
Mm-hmm.
sweat, rolling up your sleeves, ethics. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I hear that, being ethical about what you're doing, sales, chasing them down. I have the same baloney, cost with the same price, bruh.
Right.
Come, come and buy
Oh,
my baloney.
I've done that a
Put
lot.
putting things on sale. Look, this is business.
Mhm.
Not all of that on the corner, talking yickety yak and trying to sling drugs. You do something now. Do something with your life that's worth doing. This
Right.
is worth doing because this man is still here. He
Hmm.
doesn't have to look over his shoulder. Mr. Davis is still here, and he's still doing big things. Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
And then at that same time, I started another business right next door. Because then at that time, I went ahead and started buying the building, and I went ahead and bought the building with contracted deed for from the owners. And then I started one part of the building, like what we consider would be the north side of the building. I opened up a little restaurant called Just for Kids. And then in the restaurant with Just for Kids, it had video games, and it had sold tacos and hamburgers. And I had somebody to run that for me. And believe it or not, back in them days when you making $145 a day net, that wasn't bad money on video
No.
games and hamburgers and tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It didn't require a lot of bigger health department stuff. It just required, I just bought some girls from Kmart's at that time when Kmart's was open, and we put them in there, and we did nice business. And then at the same time, I started another business. I started a business called, uh, at that time, I started My Curl Activator Moisturizer Lotion. And I had 10 products on the market. That's when we used to have the curls.
I remember the curls. Now I didn't get the curl. Let me just get a little history
I had
about that.
my hair's condition it is now because I got the curl.
Oh,
So,
I didn't get the curl, but I did get
uh,
the perm. I was a perm girl,
yeah,
something to kind of make it easy where all you had to do was just put the
right,
rollers in it, dry it and go, whatever. But that stuff is not good for you. That's why I'm natural to this day.
right. That's a good thing.
So,
Good, you're on a good step. Uh,
but
but
here,
mhm,
as a businessman, and,
yeah,
and then providing a product
mhm,
that African Americans used at the time, and it was a style that was desired, not a bad thing. It was just a
right,
thing, right? I mean, it's a choice because even back in the day, some of us didn't curl or perm our hair. Some was just press and curl. Some was just that afro, that little curly afro or whatever. That's fine too. So
mhm.
here, but I hear another business, and I'm gonna ask a quick question before you continue. Did you get tired?
Well, here keep in mind, I'm in my 20s now, early 20s.
Okay, there you go. So do
I
it
was,
while you're young. Do it
yeah,
while you're
I
young. Okay.
mean, I was doing probably maybe 19, 18, 19 hours a day.
Hmm.
Then I started the course. I had some friends, relatives running the restaurant Just for Kids, and then
Hmm.
the micro activator. I had 10 products on the market: rearranger, booster, shampoo, conditioner, and a couple more other items I had on the market on the My Curl. So then I said, okay, great. So I'm selling the My Curl. It's going to some of the stores. It went to Cats. I only remember Cats back in the day.
I do.
I went through Blankenship to get Cats because Blankenship was a master distributor at that time. So I sold the product to Blankenship, and he distributed product for different places here in the city for me.
I remember Blankenship, and they were on Vine
Right.
Street. Yeah, we spoke with Doctor, the doc at the Black Archives. Now they were on Vine Street. Now they've moved around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
No,
so we.
well, they don't. They're not there anymore now. Blankenship was on Prospect, and then they was
Mhm.
on 47th Street. Now I'm not sure where they at now.
Yeah, Blankenship is an old African American business that they were they were into. Well, and they still may be. We just need to. I'm gonna find out. But they were into black hair care, that
Right?
black hair care and black beauty supplies back in the day. So
Interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before the Koreans.
before the Koreans. So, and let me just kind of do a little bit of caveat there. Now, one of the things that I think has devastated the African American community is that the businesses that we started and thrived and supported
Mm-hmm.
were sold or not supported to the point to where once the European American or Korean stores and other ethnically owned stores were open, then our dollar left the community.
Absolutely.
And also the blight of leaving those who would get the education. First thing they'd want to do would be to move out of the neighborhood because of whatever reason, wanting to move into a newer neighborhood. A lot of our homes, of course, in African American communities around the country are there's old buildings where you're not able folks haven't maintained as well, not and even not all of the homes. I'm not saying that because there's a lot of beautiful communities, but
Absolutely.
just to know that when it comes to the African American dollar, it circulates how many times before it leaves. It used to circulate and circulate several times
Mm-hmm.
before it left the community to go to other communities. Well, now my stats may be off, but it's not circulating as many times. It doesn't stay,
Right.
right?
Right. You're right.
Which which causes for businesses to not be supported in a way to where black owned businesses should be supported. And then from there, where are black owned businesses now? We'll probably get a chance to talk a little bit about that. But here you had three businesses
I got
running
another
and
one.
going.
I got another one. Then I came out with a company called Image Magazine.
Ah,
I would have
wow.
the publishing business. Didn't know nothing about the publishing business, but I had to do something because I got tired of seeing negativity about black folks on TV, on the radios. So I came out with Image Magazine, and it was a positive publication, and it was a beautiful publication. It was color on the outside of the publication. It was I had like I think like I can't remember, maybe 60, 65 or 66 pages, something like that.
Mhm.
And it was a very well publication. I advertised my businesses that I had. I advertised Just for Kids in there, a restaurant. I advertised Shortstop Grocery. That was the name of the store. And
Shortstop
I
groceries.
and then I advertised Image Mag. Well, yeah, of course, Image Magazine. Advertised all the other businesses that I had
Hmm.
inside the Image Magazine, and I just done it from there. So I had all them businesses going at the same time. Just
Hmm.
I had probably no more than I had some writers and photographers and proofreaders that we met every Sunday on my house on the pool table. That's where we met every Sunday, and to put together the publication. And we did that on Sundays because that's the
Hmm.
only day that I closed early at the store was on Sundays. So that's how we kind of put that together. It was doing very well. Everything was doing great.
Hmm.
Everything just
Hmm.
doing great. It was the things that I had to do.
Now, and we're gonna let you go here in a little bit. I know that you're a very busy person. That's why we're getting this. This is pre-recorded, by the way, guys, so that we can keep moving because this gentleman is super busy. We appreciate the time that he spent speaking with us, and we're gonna hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with him within the next week or two coming up. But the what you've done and what you've said is should be a beacon of light and hope to anyone. I'm not just saying African Americans, but anyone that wants to get in business and do something, the thing is, what I'm hearing is that you have to do it, and you have to get up and then think about what it is that your passion is. You didn't know anything about a magazine,
No.
but here you go, you have one, had one, and that was back in the day. That was a big deal, having a rag. We call
Yep.
them rags, right? Newspapers, magazines, whatever. It's a big thing happening, where you could have your picture taken, and then the magazine would come around and, oh, I see your picture, and advertise, but it served a purpose too. It gave
Yes.
you an opportunity to advertise, which is another piece of business that I think people don't seem to understand. Right now, it's social media. Social media. We spoke with one of the congressional candidates last week on the obstruction to justice, and she ran her whole candidacy through social media
Mm,
and won the primary.
yes.
Huh?
It goes on a
She
lot.
she did that. So social media is the big thing now,
Mm-hmm.
but it started with wanting to,
Mm-hmm.
and not binge watching TV. Not I don't know. I don't get a chance to watch very much TV, but not binge watching TV, not putting the blame, not playing the video games.
Mm-hmm.
That video game industry is taking off, but look who's sitting there playing the video games. People that are just, I remember working and getting, even when the video game industry, when it started ramping up, they would just be playing video games, and they call in, hey, my video game, you're taking money out, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, but there's more to life, is the point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that right there, if you want to be a success in business, then you have to do it.
Yes.
Nike said, just do it. And, he didn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Nike did his thing, but we need to do our things. And then I'm hearing too that it started with the money that you had. So I don't know how many folks still have their stimulus checks. I don't know. And I don't know what you could do with the stimulus check, in that, as far as business is concerned, guys, but write the vision and make it plain. Write it down. Get that business plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you need a business plan help and assistance, contact ASBNC Training and Consulting. That's our plug. We'll help you come up with a business plan. We actually have classes to help you write a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Now your business plan sounds like you got it going, but then to run your business, that was another big thing. Well, how do we run it? Where do we meet? His
Mm-hmm.
brother had a pool table. He
Mm-hmm.
took the time that he had, and which was on a Sunday. Okay. There's a lot of, I work on Sundays too. It's just different kind of work. It's the Lord's work.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was some rest time because he got off a little early. And then he was able to talk a little bit about what he needed to do with that magazine. Wow. Wowzer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. Davis, you're going to be coming back, and we're going to be able to spend more time with you.
Okay.
I believe next week or within the next week or two. We're going to kind of play it by ear, guys. Um, what do you see right now? I'm just going to ask you this one little quick question. What do you see is the biggest block, stumbling block or issue when it comes to African American businesses, minority owned businesses?
Well, the biggest stumbling block is, I think, it's not getting opportunities, because I mean, I have started several businesses in my lifetime. The biggest business I started one time was DSS, that's Davis Safety Supply, and the gross sales on that particular business was like $4 million. So I have started a couple more other businesses as well, and they did pretty well. But always been a stumbling block has always been just not getting the opportunities. And you have to fight for opportunity. I'm saying
Mm-hmm,
a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but
mm-hmm,
believe me, but it took a lot of fight, and that's what you have to do. You have to fight consistently, and and you don't let nobody tell you no, because if the front door is not open, in our case, the back doors are not open. You go through the window. You know what I mean? That's just how we got to run it. And just that. I mean, it's just it's so many obstacles that we got to deal with. We have to. I'm serious. There's a lot of obstacles, and I'm on my 40. I think I say this so many times. I think I'm on my 43rd year in business. It might be 44, but I'm in the 40s. The
Mm-hmm.
business. So I've been in business for a very, very long time. And I'm telling you, I always have to fight. The business I'm in now, I'm fighting. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, we're going to come back and get a
Yeah,
chance to hear what's going on with that business that you're working with now. And I get it. Yeah, the opportunities are not always there. I think the networking opportunities aren't there as far as networking to the capital. Networking, I'm saying the economics part of it, right?
right.
Getting the money to to run the business, getting the startup funding and the capital, getting the grants and things like that. um, some of the vision that we have, visions for businesses are big. It's not always about the storefront. Of course, we can work where we start, work where we are, and then grow to build that. Just
Mm-hmm.
a little thing about the capital part of it. For years, what I've done, and even now, it doesn't matter. I'll take a contract, and we'll work the contract and invest in the businesses that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So one business will invest in the other business, but we'll take a contract to invest in the other businesses. So it's about yeah, I think the opportunities, and then looking for the opportunities. I agree, and not letting people say no. If they say
Right,
no, that's no there, but that's not no everywhere, huh?
right, right. It's not no
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. And then also, I've been fortunate. When I started my business, I have never borrowed money for my businesses. Never had.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into the business, I did obtain a line of credit, but I never actually went out and borrowed money to start the business. Have
I
never,
got it.
never. Because
All right.
one business does good, I sell it, I move to something else, or I maybe find a way of doing something different. That's just basically how I always have done it. So
And there's a niche
mm,
there, and I said that we would talk about it by the end of our conversation, and well, today's conversation,
mm,
and that's startup. Hmm? There's some entrepreneurs that are great at startups, and that's what they do. They start up, they grow it to profit, and then they sell it, right?
mm,
So that is a way to do business. But without you chiefs, and I'm saying the big kahunas, the guys that have paved the way, and proven the concept, right? I
mm-hmm.
think that the other part, the longevity of some businesses, are that would just be just what it is. It's the startup, but the startup is important to get to the long haul. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
Understand?
yeah. Mr. Davis, James Davis, thank you so much for joining today and sharing with us. And we're looking forward to talking with you again here real soon.
Okay. Thanks for having me too. We're gonna talk more about this new business.
Yes, definitely looking forward to that.
Hmm.
Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, that interview was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, as you can tell. This gentleman is going to come and hang with us again here soon, and we're really looking forward to it. For everyone that joined and hung in there with us, we do appreciate it. And, we just to look forward to where we can come back and hang out some more and talk about some more business. If you have any questions or, issues you want to discuss, or any questions about business or training, or just in general, huh? Contact us. Contact us. Drop us a line at the website there, www.asbnc.com. And we will definitely get back with you and hang out and everything and contact you and let you know the answer. If we don't know it, we'll find out. Hopefully, everybody is doing well, and hang in there, and things go well. eh, Make sure you vote. Get out there and vote. That was what this was all about, too. Sharing to where you can have some information where you can vote better. And if you don't know what to vote for, just investigate it. Do your research, your due diligence as a citizen of the United States of America and the greater communities, the different states and local communities. Just do your best. I try to do mine. And take care, and we'll see you next time.
Obstruction now. Justice now. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice.
Justice now.